Gloria Estefan. Gloria Estefan, Gloria Maria Milagrosa Fajardo, at birth, was born in Havana, Cuba on September 1, 1957. When she was 16 months old, her family fled the communist government of dictator Fidel Castro and moved to Miami, Florida. She and her mother lived in a Miami ghetto. Her father, who had been a Cuban soldier, was involved in the 1961 Bay of Pigs invasion. This was an unsuccessful attempt by Cuban exiles, backed by the United States government, to overthrow the Cuban government. Gloria's father was captured and imprisoned in Cuba for 18 months. After his release, he moved his family to Texas. Later, he served in Vietnam for 2 years. After that, the family returned to Miami in 1968. Gloria grew up with the responsibilities of a caretaker on her shoulders. She took care of her younger sister, Rebecca, while their mother worked days and attended school at night. She also took care of her father after he was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. Doctors thought his illness might be connected to a toxic chemical called Agent Orange. He had been exposed to that while serving in the military during the Vietnam War. The chemical was used to destroy trees and shrubs where enemy soldiers were hiding. As a result, American soldiers were also exposed to it. Gloria cared for her father after school until she was 16. At that point, he entered a veterans hospital. During those long years of caretaking, Gloria took refuge in playing the guitar and singing in her room. She entered the University of Miami in 1975 on a partial scholarship to study psychology. She completed a bachelor's degree in 1978. Although she loved music, she was incredibly shy. She could not imagine herself performing in public. One day, her mother took her to a Cuban wedding. There she met her future husband, Emilio Estefan, and his Cuban American band, the Miami Latin Boys. Before long, she became an accompanist and occasional lead singer of the band. Emilio, the group's leader and keyboard player, helped Gloria to break through her shyness. Over time, she began to sing more often and add to her own pop songs to the group's repertoire. The group, eventually renamed Miami Sound Machine, began releasing albums. Starting in 1984, their success began to skyrocket. At first, their rising fame was supported by an exclusively Hispanic audience. Soon, they became recognized by a widely mixed following that enjoyed pop, dance, soul, and Latin music. As the group became more popular, it was called Gloria Estefan and the Miami Sound Machine to highlight her importance in the group. Eventually, they were known as just Gloria Estefan. In 1989, Gloria released her first solo album, Cuts Both Ways. A year later, she was in a very serious accident when a semi-truck collided with her tour bus. She broke her back and was not expected to recover fully. But with great determination and hard work and physical therapy, she did recover. The shower of loving support from her many fans helped to keep her spirit strong. She celebrated her recovery with the release of the album Into the Light and a year-long tour. She wanted to give something back to the people who had cared about her after the accident. In 1982, she organized a benefit concert and raised $3 million for the victims of Hurricane Andrew. Many successes, honors, and awards marked the following years. Today, Gloria Estefan is one of the most successful entertainers in the world. Her concerts are sold out, and her records sell by the millions. Her life has been strongly shaped by her family's roots as Cuban exiles. Like many other exiled people around the world, she fiercely defends her culture's tradition. She also condemns the oppression that drove her family from their homeland. Her music and her life reflect her Cuban roots and her American upbringing. She continues to attract an audience of millions from both cultures. Number 1, Part A. What inference can be made about Gloria Estefan's relationship with her husband Emilio? A. She married him because they are both talented musicians. B. Once they were married, she took over his band in order to become a star. C. Gloria probably wouldn't have married him if it wasn't for her mother. D. Emilio gave Gloria the confidence she needed to become a singer. Part B. Underline the sentence that best supports your answer in Part A. She entered the University of Miami in 1975 on a partial scholarship to study psychology. She completed a bachelor's degree in 1978. Although she loved music, she was incredibly shy. She could not imagine herself performing in public. One day, her mother took her to a Cuban wedding. There, she met her future husband, Emilio Estefan, and his Cuban American band, the Miami Latin Boys. Before long, she became an accompanist and occasionally lead singer of the band. Emilio, the group's leader and keyboard player, helped Gloria to break through her shyness. Over time, she began to sing more often and add her own pop songs to the group's repertoire. The group, eventually renamed Miami Sound Machine, began releasing albums. Starting in 1984, their success began to skyrocket. At first, their rising fame was supported by an exclusively Hispanic audience. Soon they became recognized by a widely mixed following that enjoyed pop, dance, soul, and Latin music. As the group became more popular, it was called Gloria Estefan and the Miami Sound Machine to highlight her importance in the group. Eventually, they were known as just Gloria Estefan. Number 2, read the sentence. Over time, she began to sing more often and to add her own pop songs to the group's repertoire. What does the word repertoire most likely mean? A. Fans. B. List of songs. C. Recorded albums. D. Musical instruments. Number 3. What country is Gloria's family from? A. Florida. B. Cuba. C. Miami. D. Vietnam. Number 4. Part A. What inference can be made about why Gloria's family left Cuba? A. Gloria's future husband Emilio lived in Miami. B. Gloria's mother wanted to go to school in America. C. Gloria's father was opposed to the Cuban government. D. Gloria was a talented singer who could become famous in America. 5. Part B. Which paragraphs best support your answer in Part A? A. Paragraphs 1 and 2. B. Paragraphs 4 and 5. C. Paragraphs 6 and 7. D. Paragraphs 8 and 9.